Good day, I'm Sandra Johnson, and this is your JIS News for Friday, October 2. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has signed a $3.6 million cooperation agreement with the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) to support strategies for Jamaica's national HIV response. The document was signed on Thursday by the State Minister of Health and Wellness, the U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica, and the Director of the CDC Caribbean Regional Office. The strengthened access to and delivery of quality public health services for prevention, care, and treatment of HIV, STIs, addressing diseases of public health importance, and advancing global health security in Jamaica under the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, is a 5-year agreement. The State Minister of Health and Wellness says one of the unintended consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic is that manageable chronic diseases such as HIV have received less attention and disruption in treatment and care. She says the activities under this cooperation agreement will allow Jamaica to refocus and reprioritize key actions that will help the country meet the UNAIDS 1990 targets.
For the first year of the agreement, some of these priority actions will include development of the digital HIV/AIDS confidential reporting form and validation of the data, which indicates that 90% of all people living with HIV know their HIV status. These will be carried out under the strategic information component of the project.
Other interventions under the project will include revising the Peer Navigation Training Manual, developing an orientation manual and toolkit for prevention staff, utilizing social media as an outreach tool to create linkage to testing and prevention. HIV diagnostic services will also be improved with the employment of additional staff at the National Public Health Lab, and a backup machine for viral load testing will be procured. In other health news, Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is calling on operators of care homes to follow the health and safety protocols implemented by the government to minimize the spread of COVID-19 among their vulnerable residents. He made the call during an inspection of health and safety protocols at the Golden Age Home in St. Andrew on Monday. Minister Tufton says that with the country now at the phase of community spread, care home operators must observe the established COVID-19 protocols because the impact on these institutions can be devastating.
I want to use the opportunity to encourage the other similar institutions across the country. The response to COVID right now is going to be heavily dependent on all of us playing a role. It's going to be heavily dependent on the protocols that we establish for work, for leisure, for industry of one form or another, and in this instance for a home for the aged, being observed.
Dr. Tufton says the ministry has been working with the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, and the management teams of the respective agencies to ensure the safety of residents in other such facilities. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has allocated $80 million to the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, to assist coffee farmers affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister Floyd Green made the announcement in a meeting with the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, JCEA, on Wednesday. He said the support would include extension services and input supplies such as fertilizers and chemicals. Minister Green added that the ministry was going through the procurement process and expected farmers to start receiving the inputs within another few weeks. Jamaicans could soon be seeing a simplified authentication process of local documents intended for use overseas and for the recognition of foreign documents intended for use in Jamaica. This after Justice Minister Delroy Chuck introduced the Authentication Foreign Public Documents Bill 2020 to Parliament on Tuesday. Under the bill, certain local documents can be authenticated in international countries. These include birth, marriage and death certificates, decrees for the dissolution of marriages, excerpts from official public records and registrars, and medical and health certificates. Currently, some documents needed for use overseas require verification through a process known as authentication or legalization before they are accepted for use. If the recipient in the foreign country is not familiar with the identity of the signee, the seal or stamp on the document, there is a need for legalization.
Persons in other countries do not recognize they might not appreciate what our birth certificate, our marriage certificate, various documents. And once a person gets it legitimized by apostille certificate, the other countries accept them easily without the other countries having to go through, or the person having to go through a process of legalization.
The minister says the bill will also support Jamaica's implementation of the Hague Convention abolishing the requirement for legalization of foreign public documents, commonly known as the Apostille Convention. Online filing is now mandatory for all taxpayers submitting returns for Guest Accommodation Room Tax, GART, using the RT01 form. This came into effect on October 1 and must be done via the Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ online portal at jamaicatax.gov.jm. The TAJ says this marks the latest step in a phased introduction of mandatory e-filing, which began in 2014. GART applies to hotels, bed and breakfast operators, villas, apartments, motels, guest houses, resort cottages, and timeshare operators. GART returns are due on or before the last day of the month following the reporting period. The National Baptist Basic School in Kingston has received well-needed equipment and items to assist with managing the COVID-19 pandemic. On Tuesday, the 3 awardees of the First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union Civil Servants of the Year Awards for 2019 handed over a donation of a desktop computer, printer, and educational items. The initiative is part of the awardees' community outreach project and was matched by the donation of hand sanitizers and money for desks and chairs they helped secure from other sponsors. There were also gift items from the Administrator General's Department, as well as educational charts and booklets for the children to read from the Jamaica Information Service.
But I must observe everybody who took time out, especially in this time of a pandemic, to really think about us. But today I am humbled when persons can take time out, especially in this strange time we're living in. Because I know it has affected everybody in one way or the other.
And finally, a dedicated email address and hotline numbers were launched by the Ministry of Education today to provide additional support for parents and teachers making back-to-school preparations.
2 national numbers have been created. 888-EDUCATE. So that's 888-338-2283 or 888-SCH-TIME. So that's 888-724-8463. Parents, teachers, if you have questions, you need to find out where to go, what to do, please call those numbers.
Back-to-school queries can also be sent via email to educate@educate.gov.jm. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Sandra Johnson. Thanks for watching.